The Lotus 49 community tends to use many of the same circuits that suit the car well, provide a challenge, and put on good racing. So it's not often you get a circuit that has never shown up on the schedule. Today, for those who want new and different, Christmas comes early. Suzuka's West layout sets the stage and will be completely new territory for every driver here. We'll see if the results are equally as surprising as we get ready to watch round 2 of the Lotus 49 World Cup. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sean, most of our fans watching are probably followers of Formula One, so of course they know Suzuka. But tell us a little bit about the West circuit they'll be tackling today.
Well, Joe, it's kind of like we basically showed up on a budget this weekend, and well, they said you can't have the main paddock and you can't have the main front straightaway. And well, we've only got about half the staff here, but yeah, we've hit another classic Formula One track and an abbreviated version of that. Now, this place never saw action with the Lotus 49 in the real world, but this course is much better suited to the modern F1 cars, probably, with how the twisty and technical sections really go. But it's got 10 turns over 3.4 kilometers. That's 2.154 miles. And so there's very, very little time that you're fully on the gas, maybe in the backstretch right there where you come across the start-finish line. But they built it in '62. And believe it or not, this place started as a test track for Honda. If you consider this figure 8 layout offering a more equal amount of left and right turns, the variety of corner types, and a few high-speed portions, it makes a lot of sense. But because it's not really built with passing in mind, the drivers will really have to work for their overtakes today, Joe. I don't think that means we'll lack a good show because mistakes will be easy to make here. I can tell you from practice it was pretty death-defying. But to give us an idea of just how difficult it is taking on this combination today, let's hop on board the GSRC Lotus 49 for a lap around Suzuka West.
All right, we've got Ben Zocco in the GSRC Lotus 49, so let's do a lap around Suzuka. Climbing up past the support pits, you'll hold to the right side, and in this car, there's actually quite a bit of braking for 130R. Even though you've got the paved runoff to the outside, be wary of the AstroTurf and try your best to bleed onto the throttle instead of stomping it. Quickly, you're going to be braking for the short chute that connects you to the Dunlop curve. This will be a decent place for an overtake, but it gets narrow here, so it can be easy to get tangled up with your opponent. Coming out into Dunlop, you won't get a whole lot of time to get your speed up before you hit Degner 1. You really want to be in control on the exit of this kink because it flows directly into Degner 2, and this bend tends to punish you harshly when you loop it. You'll start braking even before you get to the kink that leads into the hairpin. Don't be surprised if a few drivers lose it when the car gets unbalanced as they try to turn and slow down. Square off this corner because the 49 really doesn't like to accelerate while you're still steering. Yet again, this car is unlike any other on iRacing because you can't even get through turn 8 flat out. You'll be feathering the throttle all the way up to spoon. This long patience-trying corner isn't as tough on the first apex as it is on the second. And even if you manage to get the car steered in, putting your foot down without losing traction is even harder. But as you climb back up the hill, you've now hopefully finished a lap around Suzuka. Relatively short lap around here compared to some of the tracks that this car competes on. Now, we've also had a short trip into the points so far with only one round, so let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship here at the start of the season. Mick Claridge gets it off with a bang and tries to make up for what was a horrible season for him last time around. Starts off with a win. He's ahead of Michel Dudillon, who made an uncharacteristic mistake. Just like I did there with the report. And unfortunately, or fortunately for him, actually, I should say, still manages a second place. Enzo Canta, a rookie, comes in and surprises. He takes a third. Joni Kaijinen manages a fourth. And then Ove Trangarade, after his great season, starts it off with just a fifth. We'll see if he can improve since then. Sean, we, of course, have the Constructors' Championship. And what is that looking like?
Well, Joe, let's look at that real quick here. The UK, because of Mick Claridge's effort right now, sitting on top with 10 points. France just shortly behind there, only 2 points. Italy, they're in third, tied with the U.S. Finland, the Finns down the board right now in fifth, but I don't expect that to last long. Joni Kaijanen's here today, and I'm sure he'll represent well, and so will Tommy Unhola, who, although I hear Tommy not feeling too well today, so maybe a couple drivers might be able to take advantage of the fact that he is a little off, a little under the weather.
That's a little bit of a shame. Hopefully he feels better before Christmas gets here as we watch qualifying work its way through. Now, we might have viewers who have never watched the Lotus 49's race before, since they're not as big of a series as something like the Skippies. So why don't we look at the race details real quick and introduce you to the Lotus 49 World Cup. Now, we are on round 2 of 12, since this is an official series. Today's race is going to be 20 laps, not a very long race. We expect about 25 minutes. This is an open setup series. Now, the good thing about that is this is a very close-knit community, very open community, so drivers tend to share their sets pretty freely. Even the fast guys will let you have theirs at the snap of your fingers. Taking a look at the weather, though, let's see here, Sean. 81 degrees on the track, 72 air temperature, and clear skies. This should at least be a bit of a blessing in that sense. Hopefully good racing conditions.
Yeah, great racing conditions, actually. Practice was pretty much the same leading into this morning, and I think most of the guys have got some time on track, so I don't think anybody's going to be really caught out by the weather here, Joe. Like you said, a really, really nice nice track today with these clear skies and really favorable temperatures.
So we watch Joni Kaijanen, who's currently got the pole. I see that Mick Claridge has finished his qualifying. Sean, you were saying that he had an impressive gap in practice, but we're not seeing that here in qualifying today.
No, and I'm wondering if maybe he just missed it a little bit. But no, definitely a lot closer. In fact, a little surprised to see Snelson ahead of him right now on the qualifying board here, as Snelson was about a second off in practice, and Kaijanen, I think, was just was maybe sandbagging it a little bit in practice. Not entirely surprised to see him at the top. He's going to be tough to beat today.
Now I see that pretty much everybody has finished their 2 laps that is still out there. I know Christopher Graves messed up that last lap, and I'm not sure if he's actually, let's see here, he's taken 1, so this is going to be his last chance to try and get a clean one in, because he does not have a time on the board himself. Don Good and Ty Hoggins all have not put a qualifying time in. Looks like Luke Witten as well is out there, but I believe he has taken his 2 laps already, so he's just getting some practice time in. Marco, of course, as well, has completed his 2 laps. Drivers are able to continue to try and get as much warm-up as they can during qualifying. Question that I have, Sean, that I've been trying to figure out is if do their incidents count towards their safety rating once you've finished your 2 official qualifying laps?
Yes, the incidents do affect your safety rating as soon as basically as soon as you enter the official session. So once the qualifying, the green flag drops on it. So yeah, that in this, Joe, I got to be honest with you, it's going to be easy to pick up those incidents here today. They will rack up quickly, and as this is an official race, it's always something you want to guard against. You can take an awful big hit, especially with the strength of field that we have here today, and the fact that there's 21 cars in this field. You definitely want to try and guard against it. It's going to be so hard here today in the Lotus 49, though.
The Club Australia New Zealand driver Ty Hoggins is trying to get himself a timed lap in. Christopher Graves did get a time down, and this brings up a point that I wanted to talk about, Sean. His time is about 5 seconds off the next car up, and you and I were discussing whether or not traffic was going to be a problem throughout this race.
Yes. The extremely fast guys at the front will probably catch the back of this field, especially if they're having trouble getting started, Joe. I imagine they'll catch them pretty quickly. This is not a long trip around here. Very technical, very sketchy in this car. And if you struggle, then the likes of Kaijanen, Claridge, Morrison, Billy Bob, they will be on you like grease on some fried chicken, buddy.
Well, let's go through the grid as the times have been set. And up at the pole, as we said, Joni Kajanen toppling everybody. Can he get a win out here? Bruce Nelson will be starting on the outside of that front row. Then row 2 in third, Mick Claridge. Let's see if he can come from there to take a win away. Michael Morrison is beside him. He's found a good set of pace recently. And Billy Bob Bright, not his greatest qualifying, will start in 5th. Luke Whitten will be in the 6th position with Michael Thomas starting 7th. Enzo Canta will be in P8 at the green flag. Neil Kemp starts in 9th, and Benjamin Zoko, who did our lap guide, will round out our top 10. Sean?
All right, let's take the second 10 here. It's going to be Marco, RC DeCono. They're in 11th. Tommy Unhola, 12th. Roy Cunningham, 13th. Hideki Koivitso, 14th. Andrew Eng, thanks for sharing the setup, buddy. 15th. 16th goes to Andres Bruno in 17th. Jamie Bisaw in 20th. It's going to be Ivan Dojo, and I'll take Ivan is in 18th. Christopher Graves in 19th. Don, tell me something good there in 20th. And Ty Hoggins there from down under, buddy. He's starting in 21st.
As we wait for the cars to all grid up out here, just missing about 4 of them at this point. Then we go racing for 20 laps here in round 2 in Suzuka at the West layout. The first time the series has ever run this combination. There you can see them uphill climb on the grid here in the support pits. And not fully straight from where they start, which can be a little tricky in this car, even though it's a gentle bend. Got to be careful if you have the wheel not perfectly straight when you put the accelerator down. So the lights are up. Engines are revving. Green flag is out. And it's a decent start from Kajanen. Oh, a horrible start for the car. That's Morrison in 5th. That's going to check a few people up, causing a bit of chaos, but everybody manages to get through. As they come through the first corner, Snelson doesn't take much momentum. That allows Mick Claridge to get up beside him. He squirms under braking as the cars come together in an accordion. Can they get through safely in 2 and 3? It's very tight through here. And it looks like they are. Oh, but we've got a car. Enzo Canta off at the side.
Canta off to the side, had to let everybody get through. Going to fall all the way to the back of the field here.
Working their way up towards the hairpin for the first time. Snelson managed to fend off Claridge, and we got another car off. That is Michael Thomas. Loses just 2 positions miraculously by bringing it back to the track without much incident. Unfortunately, he's been passed by Marco and Neil Kemp.
Where at the back of the field, Ty Hoggins ran off the track also. Down into the hairpin.
Already the trickiness of this course, catching a few drivers out, and this has allowed a breakaway for our top 4. That's Kajanen, Snelson, Claridge, Wright.
Looking at Spoon, trying to make sure everybody gets through. So far, so good. They've pretty much gone line to stern here throughout the field.
And we're watching Michael Thomas still in a battle as he's trying to fend off Marco. Oh, getting very tight down in there into turn 3. Whitten almost getting into the back of Marco. Roy Cunningham giving chase behind them as well. Through the Degners they go. The slower second one. Marco very much under threat. Now we're going to see a pass attempt by Luke Whitten here in the early stages. Bit of a defensive move from Marco. But while that front pack is spreading itself out, Sean, it is getting intense here in the upper mid pack.
It really is, Joe, but I did just take a peek up front, and boy, it sure looks like Mick Claridge is having some connection issues right now. That is a shame. I hope it doesn't continue.
He's trying to give chase on Bruce Snelson. And it sounds like we've got the replay ready on Enzo Canta. Sean, did you catch exactly what happened there? I know he was under the weather, he said.
Yeah, Canta actually, he got together with Neil Kemp right there and gets bounced to the outside wall. That was just two cars getting a little bit too close there at the start of the race.
That looked like some wheel-to-wheel contact, and in these machines, that is never a good thing.
No, it wasn't.
Well, that has sent him back to 17th place. He's trying to work his way back through. Must not have too much damage. Next on his list is Ivan Dojo. Ooh, and Ivan a little bit far off, coming through Degner 1, off the apex on Degner 2. Kanta sticks his nose in, tries to find space, thinks better of it, coming through the kink. Oh, and a little bit of an off for Ivan. Swings it wide at the hairpin, recovers, and returns, having lost 2 places as Don Good sneaks by. Looked like a bit of a silly mistake, but boy, that kink heading into the hairpin is not easy in this car.
No, not at all. It's really on the edge. You know, you got to consider downshifting just before that kink, I think, to really get that car slowing down before the entry there to the hairpin.
So we switch back up to the front. You can see Claridge has got his connection problems settled for a little bit now. Bruce Nelson just up ahead of him. Bruce has been staying within contact to Kaijin as well. He's not letting him run away, even though he can't threaten right now.
Ooh.
Oh, a little bit of an off.
Yeah, that was a mistake by Snelson there. It's the second time I've seen him do that already in the same part of the track, and he overruns the hairpin. Look at that, Joe. Claridge able to get under and away in second.
Easy peasy into P2 for the number 4. The Brit now has his eyes on the leader. He's taken 1 win this season. Can he make it 2 in a row? Through Spoon Curve. This is where it's so tough to try and get the power down. And then you climb up the hill. Kaijinen running that red scheme. The classic gold and green for Mick Claridge.
Joe, give you a quick update on Enzo Canta. He begins his climb to recover here. He gets around Andres Bruno. Up to 15th for Canta. Now he's tracking Coivizzo. Coivizzo 2.7 seconds up the track in front of him.
Apologies, from the frontal view, the golden hue, I guess, of the the lighting made it look like it was golden green, but it's more of a white and blue, it looks like, on that car of Mick Claridge.
Thought I was working with soup there for a minute.
But yeah, really. Is this morning lighting we've got here today, or is this evening? It's always difficult to tell the difference.
It's in the morning, in the early morning sun, sir.
In the land of the rising sun, it seems fitting as we watch Neil Kemp in 5th. He is holding off Michael Thomas. Remember, Michael made a mistake in the early stages as he comes out of Spoon Curve, isn't able to gain ground. Unfortunately, not quite long enough of a straight for the draft to really have an effect in these cars, Sean.
Joe, right now, Marco getting past here or trying to. Zoko was setting him up, heading to 130R. Zoko still on the inside. Zoko looking to take it down to turn 2 here. Oh, can't quite pull off the pass there.
Great defense from Marco. Held the inside, was deeper on the brakes. He's got a bit of a truly train now forming behind him with Zoko, Cunningham, Unhola, and Egg. You mentioned how difficult it is to pass around here, Sean.
Yeah, it really is. There just really aren't a whole lot of great passing opportunities. You're really spending more time taking advantage of guys' mistakes. The backstretch, what we know is the backstretch, which is actually the front stretch here in this configuration, is really your only great opportunity to pick up a good pass.
Everywhere else, just short blasts, squirts of the power. Very difficult braking zones. So this pack comes out of Spoon as well, and just look at Zoko squirm under the power. We watched him in the lap guide as well. You could hear just how long and patient he had to be to get the right foot down. And he's losing ground on Marco now.
And battle for fifth right now raging on. Neil Kemp up 4 spots into fifth. The California driver up early for this one today, being chased by Michael Thomas. The French driver all over him right now. He's up a spot trying to get into fifth.
Ooh, defensive move down into the hairpin for Neil Kemp. Thomas not able to do anything with it as he holds to the line. Both drivers now coming through turn 8. Having to just feather the throttle, swinging wide, bringing it back in for a spoon. And once again, we see Thomas not quite close enough, but still threatening. Let's see if Kemp can withstand the pressure. Did I hear that we had a problem with Ang here?
Yeah, Ang had a bit of a problem. Yes, sir. Going to the hairpin, he locks him up.
You're gonna see.
And then out of the hairpin, that's where the trouble's gonna happen, Joe.
Looks like maybe got the tires a little hot here on entry as he gives it a bit of a drift through, and then when he gets to the power, it does not want to cooperate. Kanta gets another position. Hunted down Corey Visto for a number of laps and gets himself up into 13th. Remember, he started in 8th, which is still kind of low for him from what we saw in the first round.
Yeah, you know, he picked up Corey Visto pretty quick there, Joe. I think it only took him about 2 laps. Kanta really strong pace right now, commensurate with what the leaders are running, but he's still got a lot of cars to get through, and he's running out of time. Only 12 laps to go when he comes across the line.
There we see Kanta in that bright red helmet. Now, one thing to note is Mick Claridge has been chipping away at that lead of Joni Kajanen's. He's still got 13 laps to go, so more than half the race left to gun him down, and another 10th is gone as it's down to 7 tenths left between them.
Yep, staying right up on him now. Mick got to guard against making any kind of mistake here.
And as Bill likes to say, it's one thing to catch a driver, it's another to pass them. Let's see if Claridge can get any of that rooster milk out of Joni. It's now down to half a second. He is catching him quick. I should have taken a shallow line into that hairpin as we rode on board with the Brit.
Still good fighting going on at the back of the field. Andres Bruno right now, Don Good having a little bit of fun out here. That's a battle for 16th. Don started in 20th. Now finds himself in 17th.
I was going to say we might want to jump to 5th because Thomas made an attempt down into Spoon Curve, but couldn't seal the deal past Neil Kemp. Tries to, great job out on the AstroTurf for him to get the power down. I thought for sure he would lose it there. That's going to keep him within touching distance of Neil Kemp as they come up to 130R, but just can't get the car up next to him.
130R, so tricky in this car.
Of course, you can see Thomas running the classic Ferrari scheme with Chris Amon emblazoned on the side. Just a little bit off through Degner 2 for Michael Thomas. That's going to cost him some time and allow number 8 of Kemp to have a little breathing space finally. Meanwhile, up at the front, Claridge has now closed it in to within 2 tenths. Is Kajanen going to start to go defensive? Oh, right up under the gearbox. Claridge loses traction trying to stay out of the rear end of Joni. Almost sent both of them flying.
That made me nervous.
Cost him another 10th as he backs off of Kajanen. Now they come through 130R. Where is he going to get it done? Can he get it done? Or is the Finn going to stay ice cold and manage to hold him back for the next half a race?
I see what you did there, Joe. I don't want to leave that battle, but I got to tell you, the battle for 7th place is really heating up, being led by Luke Witten. And Marco Arce Diacono right behind them, and Benjamin Zocco. I don't think that spot there in 7th is safe. Luke is really busy on the wheel right now, and a little maybe even busier in the mirror.
All three still line astern. Just giving each other space for the moment. Oh, we got to go back to the lead. Here goes Mick Claridge down into Spoon. He's given space at the apex as Joni Kajanen takes it wide. Oh, but he's off into the marble. Look at him struggle to get the car to turn in and struggle to get the power down as well. Mick Claridge into the lead and then some.
Well, that's a pretty big mistake by Kajanen there, and it took him forever to get back on the power. We got a replay of it here, Joe. You're going to see the car sliding all over the place.
Kajanen, as we look at him go wide through the first apex. Wow, look at the counter steering. Trying to find a way to get the traction to grip. Kajanen looking more like a lumberjack sawing at the wheel.
Dare I say a little Tokyo drift there, Joe?
How appropriate. Well, unfortunately, with the lack of pace compared to Claridge, that's meant that he has not responded. He's still a whole second back from the Brit. And Bruce Snelson is about 2 seconds back. I wonder if he can maybe close ground.
Man, I'm impressed with all the West Coast guys that have shown up this morning when we talk about getting up early for this one. When you think about Snelson and Neil Kemp.
Well, they got a 3-day weekend for the Christmas holiday, so I guess they figure they got time to recover.
Don Good out there in Club West.
Some dedicated drivers for sure. A little sad that we don't have Olstead here. He's a regular typically. Is the one that kind of pulls everything together. Oh no. Canto with another problem.
And this might be the one to end all. Boy, he noses it in really hard here. Kanta had been fighting back so well.
This is under that curved braking into Spoon. Oh, you could see as soon as he hit the brakes in that nose dip, Sean, the car just snapped.
I think maybe just a little bit too much brake, a little bit too much on the brakes there.
Yeah, amazingly, he's still out in 13th.
Got a replay of Michael Morrison has trouble coming out of turn 2, Joe.
Let's see. As he steers in that violet car, it just overcorrects and doesn't hit anything. Loses 2 position and keeps going. Now Luke Whitten, everything's happening at once. And Whitten is the one that absolutely can't keep going. I mentioned this in the lap guide. If it gets wrong in the first part of the Degners, it goes completely wrong in the second part.
Yeah, and I can't do it. I was going to say, there goes hard-hitting Whitten.
Oh, not a nickname I think he'll want. But meanwhile, whoa! What's going on here for second place? Kajanen having more problems. Was that Snelson that bumped him off? Or no, that was Dojo. That was Dojo. That was a lapped car.
Oh, boy. Yeah, a little wheel hop there. I'll do it every time. Wow.
And Kajanen able to continue on. He's still in 4th. That is not where he wanted to be after leading the first part of this race and taking the pole in that Koff machine.
I tell you what, Billy Bob has reeled in Bruce Snelson, man. This is going to be a battle. Billy Bob Wright is up to 3rd on a podium position right now and closing on Snelson here really quick.
Billy Bob has certainly found himself some pace in the last maybe 5 or 6 seasons and steadily climbed his way up the order. He's taken a few wins even here on Saturday races on the broadcasts.
Ooh, Kemp back here in 5th, finally struggling a little bit. Michael Thomas.
Oh, And we can see Zoko has a problem down into the Casio triangle, which you're usually not supposed to be in this layout.
Yeah, boy, and I don't know if that was... He gets in hot, yes, but it's Dojo that blows the corner, and Dojo just slams him.
And I'm not sure if Dojo actually exited or if that was the incident limit.
Yeah, I think Dojo off into the Twilight Zone, Joe.
Well, unfortunate to see attrition rate getting a little high out here. We've only got 15 cars left out on track. But we're watching this fight for second as Wright has now reeled in Snelson to within 0.3. Only 5 laps left to go in this 20-lap race. Billy Bob Wright bearing the number 10, but running in the podium. He qualified in 5th today.
Boy, Thomas has been at this for 15 laps now, trying to get by Kemp. Kemp just seems to be in the right spot at the right time every lap around, and off in the grass there. But look what happens there to Thomas. Thomas makes a mistake and loses a lot of ground there to Kemp.
And as that has separated, it has closed in between Wright and Snelson. He has got it now down to 0.2 as he had a great run through the hairpin. Unless he's very brave, I don't think we'll see anything happen in his spoon, and indeed we don't as we ride on board looking over the shoulder of the Floridian. Let's see what he can do down the main straight. As you said, one of the few places where you are flat to the floor in this car. And a great exit from the number 6 of Bruce Snelson keeps him from being under threat from Billy Bob Wright for now. Let's get down into turn 2. I keep wanting to call this the crossover, but this track actually has a crossover, so you can't call the short course version that. Ooh, closing in down into Degner 2. Billy Bob looking much more confident there in that second half of that corner.
It's this entry to the hairpin that always scares me, though. We talked about it earlier. Billy Bob obviously getting it done there.
You know, the one thing that always scared me about battles into that hairpin, Sean, is just that you can't tell if someone's going to defend until you're committed.
True. Yeah, and listen, there's no room for a last split second decisions once you get down there.
Certainly not. Bruce Snelson, boy, he is just in a pressure cooker, but doing fantastically to fend off Billy Bob Wright for this last half of the race.
Yeah, he is handling that pressure very well, Joe. That's a great observation. He's been good.
It's now down to 3 laps to go. The gap between Snelson and Claridge is up to 5 seconds.
Look who... I'm sorry, Joe. I was going to say, look who's sneaking up here behind them.
Yeah, Joni Kajanen reeling him in, trying to recover what has not been the race that he wanted. Meanwhile, I understand the 8th position a little bit under threat as Roy Cunningham and Tommy Unhola and their own little fights.
Yeah, Tommy obviously feeling well enough at this point. The Finn finds himself up to 8th spot, started 12th. Roy trying to reel him in here in the closing laps of this race. Roy going, breaking late there into the hairpin. Unhola still gets away clean.
These two, Cunningham and Unhola, as well as Marco ahead of them, have all had nice gains today. They each started in 11th, 12th, and 13th, respectively, and are up to 7th, 8th, and 9th. Down to 2 laps to go on the penultimate lap here. Got a lot of close battles, but not fierce battles quite yet, as everybody's kind of waiting for an opportunity, which are few and far between here today at Suzuka's West Course.
Well, I begin to wonder if Billy Bob will try and send it, make a move on Snelson, or if he's just really happy to maybe finish on the podium here. Great point state. Here he goes, Billy Bob.
Yeah, got great grip coming out of the hairpin, but as you can see, just so tough to do anything through this long sweeping right-hander that leads up to Spoon. And he's not going to try it into Spoon itself. Maybe going to set himself up for the main straight. Climbing up the hill, nice and tidy down to the apex for Billy Bob Wright, smoothly to the power. He's close, but I'm not sure that he's close enough. It is 2/10 up to second place. Bruce Snelson, he's gaining now. He looks to the inside into 130R, but can't stick his nose in. Oh, but he scares him off the track. Bruce Snelson way into the runoff. He's going to have the inside down into turn 2. He's not brave enough on the brakes. Can Billy Bob Wright take it away? They're side by side for 2 and 3. And he loses out as Bruce Snelson takes it away finally. Brave stuff from both drivers. Snelson's not done yet, though. He was off the apex through Dagner 2. Are we going to see another one from Billy Bob Wright down into the hairpin? Defensive move from Snelson. This has brought the car of Joni Kajanen up behind them. Could be threatening for a podium. But up ahead of them, we have to step away here soon because Mick Claridge has now hit Spoon. One more apex to go from Mick Claridge. Doesn't need to hit it as he's got plenty of time. Didn't start on the pole, but it's going to be 2 for 2 from Mick Claridge as he takes the win here at Suzuka. Behind him, Bruce Snelson fends off Billy Bob Wright, holding on to that second place. Billy Bob takes third as Joni Kajanen a disappointing fourth after having pole.
No disappointment for Neil Kemp as he'll come across in fifth. Michael Thomas struggles there in the last couple laps of the race. And the battle for 8th, 9th. Unhola gets away there in 8th. Cunningham, Morrison going at it.
Oh, just sneaks across the line ahead of Morrison's pink car. Got Ang in a battle as well, trying to take 12th away from Koivisto.
Not going to get it, Joe.
And that's going to be the last of our field, I believe, is Bruno and Good. Should be able to cross the line in order behind them. With that, we're going to go to break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll have the official results as well as driver interviews. And on screen, you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Well, the first of 4 races today here on GSRC have finished. And in the land of the rising sun, Mick Claridge takes his second win of the season. He started from third. He managed to keep away the mistakes that others fell victim to. He avoided the traffic, and he came away with the win. Bruce Nelson was behind him in a fierce fight to try and pry second away. And Billy Bob Wright was behind him right across the line in third. Joni Kajanen, the Finn has got to be disappointed with that one, having started the race on the pole, only managing fourth. It wasn't completely his fault. A little bit of traffic, of course, got in his way along the way. Neil Kemp rounds out our top 5 with a good race for him. He started in 9th. That's an incredible jump in positions. Michael Thomas does start in 7th, finished in 6th, and Marco Arcidiacono finishes in 7th behind him. Tommy Unhola with an 8th, and then Roy Cunningham with 9th. Michael Morrison, he started in 4th. Well, just was not his day. He rounds out our top 10, Sean.
Well, Enzo Cantus certainly didn't get the day he expected, but he does recover enough to finish 11th. So good drive by him. Hideki Koivitso with a 12th, 13th. Going to go to Andrew Eng. Andres Bruno will finish 14th, 15th. Don, tell me something good. It was pretty good for him today to pick up those 5 spots. And let's see, Benjamin Zoko going to finish 16th. Hopefully he'll recover well from disappointment this week. Even Dojo, 17th, 18th. Luke Witten, Christopher Graves, 19th. Ty Hoggins in 20th only completes a lap from down under there. And Jamie Besaw, who you're going to see on there, never got started in this one. So it was 20 Lotus 49s here on the West Circuit today, Joe. And like you said, we've got more broadcasts coming up here on the Global Sim Racing channel, but we've got interviews first. And I think you've caught up with our winner, Mick Claridge.
Indeed, we have. Mick is 2 for 2 this season now on the broadcast. And Mick, we were a bit surprised at your qualifying pace. Was there a mistake there in your quali laps that put you back in 3rd?
Oh, first of all, can you hear me all right?
Yes, we got you loud and clear.
Oh, good. Yeah, sorry about last week. Yeah, qualifying. Yeah, do you know what it was? I'm thinking I used too low tire pressures. Excuse me. And yeah, the tires just didn't warm up. I had 2 really good laps, and I put F3 on at the end of the first lap, and I saw I was 4th, and I thought, what? I was really pushing. And yeah, no. So yeah, that was qualifying. Yeah, it was. I'm sure it was tire pressures. They might have made a change this season, this build.
Well, you pretty quickly got yourself up into 2nd place, and then you had to chase down Yoni. Now, did you think you'd have to wait for mistakes because of the difficulty passing here, or were you planning on trying to be aggressive and make the move yourself?
Well, getting past Bruce was from Bruce's mistake anyway. So I was sort of glad that happened, because I thought, I know what Bruce is like. I've been racing him for years, and doesn't really sort of mess up, So when he did like that pretty early on, I was sort of, okay, I've got a chance now. So yeah, catching Yoni was quite tough. He was a bit faster than me for a couple of the corners, and then he did make quite an error in one of the laps, and then I caught up just going into Spoon, and I wasn't actually wasn't going to plan to pass there. It was just he sort of seemed to be slow into the corner, and he sort of gave me a lot of room, so I just sort of went for it there, and so yeah, just got lucky with the errors. Yeah.
Now, of course, this season, the Lotus 49 World Cup is mimicking the schedule of the Skippies, hence why you guys ran the West course this season at Suzuka. This is a bit of an unusual one for this car. Would you like to see it back? Did you enjoy racing here?
Do you know what? We did it in week 13. There was a lot of races hosted in week 13, and we ran it there. And I was really struggling because it was the first time I used this Rift, and all through the first week, I sort of got the hang of it, and I really started enjoying it. And especially the end of just after the 180 with the 2 slow hairpins, I really enjoyed it, and I just thought I actually like it better than the full circuit, just for some reason. I'm not very good at big tracks, so that's probably one of the reasons why.
All right. Well, congratulations on your second win week. Glad we got to talk to you this time.
Yeah, me too, guys. Yeah, cheers.
That was Mick Claridge, our winner. Third place has come to talk to us. Billy Bob Wright from down in Florida has caught up with Sean, and he's going to talk about that fierce battle.
Billy Bob, good morning to you, sir, and congratulations on a podium finish. Now, I heard you talking there in the chat at the end of the race. Talk to us there about the closing laps and what you were talking with Bruce about there at the end.
Just want to make sure my mic's working first.
You're all good, buddy.
Hey, man. Yeah, that's, I had decided after a couple of laps, okay, I'm going to no problem. And Bruce is always a huge battle. And anyway, long story short, so bad for Yoni that I think with a lap car is what happened there. Is that what happened with him?
Yeah, he did have contact with a lap car. Yes.
Went away. Then I got really after it because I thought, okay, if I can just set Bruce up for a last lap and get lucky and actually draft up by him down into 130R, then I was going to have a shot at second. Unfortunately, I think with 4 laps to go, I saw that Yoni was catching back up to us, and I realized if we battle at all, that he was going to catch us because he was quicker than we were at that point. So I had to not to slow Bruce down, and then the dream came true at the end. I still don't know how I blew it, man. I really don't, because I stuffed it in there a little bit. I mean, I gave him room. Pretty sure I gave him room. He washed out. I thought, okay, this is mine. And then, dang, if he didn't come charging back up the inside. So we got away with one there at the end. I don't know if it showed it on the broadcast or not, but on my server, it was a big overlap, and we should have both crashed. But I'll take it, man. It was a lot of fun, and a soaker, as I like to say, when you just cannot relax for even a nanosecond. It was great fun. And Bruce is always fun to race. Wish we could have got up there with Mick to make it a big show. But look at that, man. Second, third, fourth within a half a second at the finish. That was some stuff.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more than that. Well, listen, Billy Bob, congratulations on the podium. Merry Christmas to you, buddy, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, I'll be out of town next week. We're going to do some holiday stuff. So see you guys at Spa. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, safe travel to you, my friend. We will see you at Spa. That is Billy Bob, right? Our third place finisher. And Joe, we've got one more to catch up with here. Roy Cunningham, the Canadian, coming on in here to talk to us real quick.
Absolutely. Roy going from 13th to 9th, and you were in a nice little fight with Unhola for much of this race. Are you proud of the results today?
Yeah, I actually really am. As I mentioned last week, this was going to be a tough week for me anyway, and I only had about an hour and a half of real practice. So setup wise, I was a little compromised and stuff. So my whole plan was get to the end, just survive to the end and see what happens. But so 9th I'm ecstatic. Yeah.
As a nice climb through the field. This track seemed like there's very few places where the car could really stretch its legs out. Did you have a hard time in practice getting used to it, or was this pretty easy for you to adjust to the West course?
No, I did have a hard time actually. The slow corners in this car are very difficult. And getting out of the 2 hairpins is for me a real challenge. I lose a lot of time there. And in practice, I only had a little bit, and it was a lot hotter than it was for the race. I think that was the same as last week too. And so it's the car handles a lot differently, and the track is more rubbered up now and stuff like that. So it handles a lot differently. So it is hard to kind of get used to it when you don't have a lot of practice. But some good racing everywhere. It was Tommy and I have had a few battles. In this car now. Same with Michael. I think he had some trouble and wound up. I don't know what happened to him, but I know he qualified really well and then wound up at the back somehow. So, but he worked his way back up there, and I only barely held him off. So it was good fun.
All right, Roy. So I have a question, buddy, because here at GSRC we try to keep our viewers informed and educated. So let me know. This is a Canadian-based question here, so let me know how this works. So do you wait till Boxing Day to buy all the gifts for everybody, or do you guys actually exchange gifts on Christmas Day? How does that work?
So that's good question, and it's really family dependent. So when I was a kid growing up, we always did it on Christmas Day. We would give like all the gifts and stuff, and then Christmas that night we would have like the main dinner with all the family and stuff. We'd get together. But as time goes on, like you kind of do different things in different families. I've learned to have different traditions, and so there's not really like one hard and fast rule. I think there's Canada is a real melting pot, so we get different influences from different parts of the world. So there's a lot of European influence and a lot of new stuff going on. So it's so people do it sometimes on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or Boxing Day. Like Boxing Day is kind of here. It's a big, day to relax mostly.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, like I guess equivalent to somewhat like Black Friday there in Canada. So I guess it's a day to shop also.
It is a day to shop. I think the Black Friday is, because Black Friday is kind of moved north of the border as well. And, so we do get a lot of Black Friday stuff, and obviously anything online is, Black Friday. Even iRacing has a Black Friday deal. So, more than Boxing Day. So, but there are still the brick and mortar places are, everybody has to get rid of all of the stuff that didn't sell for the holidays because they need to clear the space. So, there's a lot of, Boxing Week. It's now Boxing Week sales, so it's not like you have to show up on one day and do all that because they extend it every to the end of the year mostly. So.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, hey, a Merry Christmas and a Happy Boxing Day to you as well, sir. And we'll catch you next week.
One real quick question before you go, Roy. I noticed that you had a hard cider sponsor. Now, I'm a big fan of hard cider. Is this a Canadian brand that I'm seeing? Is there a way for me to get a hold of one of these at some point?
No, and in fact, you'll have to go to Portland, Oregon to get yourself some hard cider. That's right. Yeah, okay. Reverend Nat's Hard Cider. It's like a micro brew for cider out there in Portland.
I will have to try and get my hands on some. Again, thanks for coming and talk to us, and nice finish today.
All right, thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.
With that, Merry Christmas to all of our viewers as well, as we get a nice close-up there of the sponsor from Amjad. And we want to thank a few people before we go. Obviously, thanks to Jack Woolstead and Benjamin Zoko, who do a lot for the championship that they've organized here in the Saturdays for the Lotus 49. And thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Amjad, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. The next race for this series, however, is going to be at Brands Hatch. Once again, we're doing a short course. They're at the Indy version of Brands Hatch. That'll be Saturday, December 29th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.